Hello. We want to welcome you to our show today, the Sunnyside Community Voice. And today we have a show that affects about 21.2 million people in this country. We are going to be talking today about the visually impaired. We have a group with us here today that was started back in 2008 called VIA Foundation. It's Visually Impaired Advocates Foundation, and they're going to tell us something about their organization. And we are so hoping that this information will help someone out there who might have a problem with their sight. To my right, I have Leona Jeffrey. She is the Secretary Treasurer of VIA. To my left here, I have the President, Ms. Minnie Crystal. And then we have Darlene Tarkenton, which is the events coordinator for VIA. And we are hoping that we give you a lot of information today that will help you. So we're going to start first with our president here, Ms. Minnie Crystal. She's going to tell us what VIA is all about. Ms. Minnie?
The Visually Impaired Advocates Foundation was formed in 2008, and basically we have a mission to enhance the quality of life for the blind and visually impaired of Greater Houston. And we felt that the areas that we could accomplish this was through raising community awareness, that we are a viable segment of the community, educating to dispel some of the misinformation that's out there about the blind community, and inclusion. We simply want to be included in the community. We don't want people to feel sorry for us or our conditions, but we want to be included in the community.
And that is just so good. I'm glad to hear you say that, because we have a tendency sometimes to look at the visually impaired and think, oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. And I was talking to Ms. Minnie before the show, and I wanted to apologize because, I just said, can you see that? And I don't think about it. And she tells me, oh, don't worry about that. So the positive attitude that you generate, Ms. Minnie, is really good to let someone out there know that just because your sight may not be where it is, you can still function in the community. Now, I'm going to call you Jackie. You said we can call you Jackie, so we're going to call her Jackie. Her name is Leona, but we're going to call her Jackie today. Jackie, give us give us a little bit of information about VIA on what you do for the group.
As a member of the executive board for VIA, I am the secretary and acting treasurer at present. I'm also the eyes for the group. Good. When we go out different places or wherever we're going, I'm usually there only in support of them in reading documents or assisting them to get to wherever they're going. I'm being educated each and every time I go out, as far as that's concerned, so that I'm learning as well as the public can learn. You know, this happened to my sister, and we always knew that she had visual impairment. She, as a young child, I think at 2 years old, my mom would take her to the Houston Professional Building, and her eyes were examined. And as it progressed, I was away out of state at the time, and she moved back, and she came back, and like I said, I didn't know the severity of the condition or the extreme of the condition. And then I was still working, but as God saw fit, I was laid off. And at that point in time, they needed some individual to come and help them. And I always say God has a ram in the bush. And I was that ram for the group. And I've been working with the group since about 2008, the latter part of 2008, once I was laid off. And I've really enjoyed everything that I've been able to experience with the group, the outings, the camaraderie that they have. They are a family, and they care about one another.
Okay. And also, I understand that the fact that your sight may be impaired does not stop you from having a whole lot of events and activities. So, Darlene, give us some of the events, some of the things that you all are going to do and some of the things you've done.
Well, we host Freedom Scientific. Also, we went on a trip to Brenham. We're going to Moody Gardens. We're having a health fair. We're planning for a health fair, and also we're planning for a 70s dance. So we have quite a few things going on. We always try to stay busy, out in the public, being seen around Houston. As a group, we go out eating a lot. We do a lot of different things. Excuse me.
Well, I've been fortunate. I've been in some of the events that you have because this group meets at our activity center over in the Sunnyside area, the Marcial Keys Activity Center, and I've seen some of their parties that they have. I've seen some of the events that they've. I've been involved in some of the events that they do at our center, and you know, those of us who are sighted. We sometimes take a lot of things for granted.
Right.
But when I look at this group of people and I see how they function very well, they take nothing for granted. They just function just like if they were sighted. Because I was teasing them. I said sometimes I think, you know, did she see that? But they function just very well, and that's what this show is about, is to let those that are visually impaired know that you can function out in the community. Now Miss Minnie, we're going to talk about some of the reasons. We want you to give us some of the statistics about the visually impaired.
Okay, based on some information that I was able to gather from a few years ago, but I think it's back in 2007. The data indicates there are roughly 21.2 million adults that are blind in the United States. Now, this does not include children. If you include children into this equation, it's much higher than this. This data was compiled by the National Center for Health Statistics, so it's pretty accurate information, I feel. You probably aren't aware of the number of people that actually lose their sight, or it's estimated to lose their sight on an annual basis. Roughly there are 47,000 people per year that lose their sight or are deemed visually impaired or deemed legally blind. And this translates to roughly one person every 11 minutes, if I did my math correctly. I think it's one person every 11 minutes, so it's a pretty significant number of the population.
Now, what are some of the causes of that you know of the people losing their sight?
Okay, I'll preface my answer by saying I'm not a physician.
Yes.
However, I have observed some trends from the various people that I've run across. There's a high incidence of glaucoma.
Okay.
This is where you have pressure in the eye, and it builds up and damages the optic nerve, which can result in blindness. Age-related macular degeneration is another form that I have observed. This, if I'm not mistaken, is probably the leading cause of blindness in the adult population. Okay. There's also a condition called senile cataracts. You probably have heard of people as they reach their 40s or midlife point, they've been diagnosed as having cataracts. Well, sometimes the cataracts can be managed surgically, but in some instances they can't be managed surgically, and the lens of the eye becomes opaque and you're no longer able to see and can result in blindness. The optic nerve atrophy, it deteriorates over a period of time. Retinitis pigmentosa, a condition that I have, and then there's also a condition called diabetic retinopathy, which affects the retina, and you'll have bleeding in the eye and you can lose your sight under those conditions. When I was giving you the information on the statistics, you've probably read or heard where there's an increased incidence of type 2 diabetes, both among the adult population as well as the children. So if these individuals are unable to manage their diabetes successfully, I would anticipate the number of people who would have diabetic retinopathy to increase, and there also appears to be a correlation between glaucoma and uncontrolled diabetes.
A lot of good information there. I look at your group, for example, is a group that's trying to help those that are out there. I think I was at, you all had a conference at our center on last year, and I saw all kind of equipment that's out there for the visually impaired. And some of the stuff I saw, I mean, it was just really amazing that can help you all. You know, those that whose sight is not where it should be. Can you talk on some of the stuff that's out there for the visually impaired?
Yes, it's quite amazing the technology that has evolved over time. There's a type of software that's screen magnification. I am visually impaired. I have light perception, but I'm unable to read the normal text, normal size font on a computer screen, so I have to use a screen magnification software. And this will enlarge the size of the text on the screen to a sufficient size that I can read off of that. There's also a screen reader type of software that's available, and you download it to your computer, and it actually will read all of the text that's on the screen. It allows you to access the internet or anything on websites, or if you're working with particular software, Word or navigating through a spreadsheet, you're able to continue to do these things because it's going to read what's on the screen. For this other application, which is called OCR systems, you have a combination of software with a flatbed scanner. What this enables you to do is to scan a document, and the software will then read aloud the information that you scanned from that document.
Wow.
So as a college student, you can scan some text from your books. If you have a test, you can scan that information. If you had a handout from class, you could have that information scanned in, and it's actually read out to you. So you have to exchange what you're seeing and use your ears a lot more. And it's very true that once you lose one sense, the others are extremely heightened. So we have to learn to listen a lot more now. There's one other one that I use personally. It's a video magnifier. This uses closed circuit television technology, and you place your document or small object up under this screen and then project it on a computer-like screen. Is the object that you've placed up underneath it. However, it's magnified significantly, and this enables me to read the labels directions on a can. I can hold a can of vegetables or something under there, and I can see what the vegetables are. If I need to get some information on how to cook a recipe, I can just put that up under this scanner, this CCTV, and it enlarges it and has it on the screen. So these are some really excellent technologies that's available.
Okay, now for those out there that would want to find out about all of this information and want to get some of this information, is there a website or could they get in touch with someone to do that? Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people out there don't know how to find all of this information. Is there a place that they can call that they could find out about all of this that you're talking about?
Oh, absolutely. The information